Welcome to VoteProPot-Cast, brought to you by VoteProPot.com.
Jay Britton here. If you're a cannabis cultivator or aspire to be, you're going to want to stick around for this interview. My guest today is a cannabis entrepreneur. He's the CEO at Growers Network and the creator of the fastest growing cannabis YouTube series, Canna Cribs, as well as a new show called Deep Roots. Nick Morin, welcome to VoteProPot-Cast.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
Let's start with Growers Network and the university. Tell our listeners how Growers Network came about and explain its function.
Growers Network started from the beginning to solve one problem, connecting growers to each other around the world, but also to help them elevate their craft. There were a ton of hobbyist forums online that a lot of these growers started out in, such as IC Mag, Roll It Up, Grass City, and they still exist today, but they started out helping people grow for the first time. And as all these growers elevated their craft from growing at home or in a basement into a 300,000 square foot greenhouse, their skills needed to elevate as well. So I did about 10 months of customer segment testing and just listened to the pain points and the problems that these growers faced. And what I found out over those 10 months was there was not an online community for them to network with one another. So that's how Growers Network started. Started with solving the problem of connecting to each other, to vendors in the industry, and really give a platform for professional discourse around the world to serve the burgeoning cannabis community.
Well, I tell you, the website's great. I played around on it the last couple of days, and I especially enjoyed the forum where you get questions answered by fellow members or experts, and there's some really amazingly technical information. And I guess it's whether you're a guy that wants to, or a woman who wants to set up a grow in your house and grow a few plants, or, for a huge grow operation. It really kind of lends itself to both. Is that right? Would you say?
In the beginning, Growers Network was only open to vetted, licensed grow operations around the world. We wanted to have a safe community for these professionals to have intellectual and long-form conversations with each other because they were not able to have those same type of conversations on these more legacy communities.
I got you.
So over time, that opened up to cannabis processors, laboratories, but also equipment manufacturers, companies that want to talk about the latest and best LED technology or, soil, and service providers such as consultants and attorneys and, really the professional cannabis industry as a whole around the world was attracted to join Growers Network. And they're still on there today. But as of January 2019, we finally opened up the public side of our community. And that's where we're opening up. It's a completely, different community, same technology, same ethos, and same team behind it. But that is a safe place for hobbyist growers, the canna-curious, anyone who wants to find a job in the cannabis industry. They go on to growersnetwork.org, they sign up, and they have immediate access to our public community where our team's there to help them, elevate their craft, connect them to the interests that they want to follow, and, just really provide a professional platform for them to join the conversation.
Talk a little bit about the university. I noticed you have on your website some apparently different, really advanced type courses on growing, but from a simple beginners, like I said, somebody at home that wants to grow a few plants to some really advanced stuff. Yeah,
that's right. So Growers Network University was born out of the conversation I kept hearing at trade shows regarding Canna Cribs. So for your listeners out there, Canna Cribs is our YouTube series where we film kind of the best and most technologically savvy grow operations around the world. And I kept going to these trade shows like MJ Biz Conference, Indo Expo, etc. And I kept hearing, these growers would come up to me and they'd say, hey, our entire company, when a new grower joins, they mandate they watch Canna Cribs, right? So I heard the educational component over and over again. So I got the idea to start Growers Network University, or GNU for short, so we can teach people specifically different types of practices for cultivation. So we actually paired the launch of Growers Network University with our new public forum for hobbyist growers. So if you go on to growersnetwork.org, you can sign up for our 2 flagship courses, which are 100% free. The first one's for hobbyist growers, and the second one's for commercial cultivators.
Well, I started watching that yesterday, and I tell you, I know a little just being in this business. I learned so much just watching the first segment of that show. I mean, there's really a wealth of knowledge. I can just imagine what's in the advanced series. So I assume there's a fee for the advanced series, and I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So just our overarching business model at Growers Network is we want to provide valuable and free information and resources to growers all around the world. At some point in their journey of learning how to, elevate their craft, they might need to buy growing equipment or seeds or services. So we'll connect them to our different partners, such as Growers House for the equipment side. But when it comes to taking a course, that's information that's going to, move the needle for their grow operation or their home grow, and we're going to give that away for free. We're going to educate them and teach them. And, it's not like we're a nonprofit over here. We still have revenue from these different resources, but instead of charging the grower, we work with vendors. So how that works is, let's say you're a company that manufactures lights, LED lights, and you want to help educate people about your technology. You can join Growers Network University as one of our partners, and we can include you in the lecture on LED technology. So you are putting your brand and your white papers and your information right in front of growers at the point of them learning about the technology in general.
Well, that's great because everyone really wins. I mean, the user coming on your website gets a vast wealth of knowledge. At the same time, the manufacturers get their products out there, and I assume you vet them, and you have only the best in their fields, right?
That's exactly right. So we have a strategic partnership with growershouse.com. They're the leading hydroponics e-commerce supplier in the United States. So working with them, they're able to recommend some of the top relationships that they have on the equipment side. So if it's an LED company, whoever they work with the most and have a great relationship with, we can plug them into Growers Network University, and that's part of our vetting process.
I see. How many members do you have on your site now, in your forum or on your network?
Yeah, so the Growers Network forum, up until this point, it's been private, vetted, and closed. So that community is just over 5,600, so almost around 6,000. And now that we've opened up our public community, we could see our community as a whole grow to over 10,000 by the end of the year very easily.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about Canna Cribs and Deep Roots. I've watched several of the episodes, and I'm telling you, it's really interesting. Anybody out there that has any interest in growing really needs to watch this. It's excellent. And as we mentioned in the intro, it's the fastest growing cannabis YouTube series. Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, that's right, Jay. So Canna Cribs, how it all started is, we were inviting commercial grow operations into the Growers Network community, and they were having, great conversations with each other, but they still wanted to teach each other, right? So I wanted to go out and film, episode 1 with one of our friends to prove the concept of Canna Cribs, and it just kind of took off from there, and the rest is history.
Well, tell our listeners what it is. Tell them what Canna Cribs is about.
Canna Cribs is an educational and entertainment video series where we film the largest and most technologically savvy cannabis grow operations in the world.
I tell you, it's fascinating to watch. I mean, the intricacies and the technical aspects of the show are fascinating. Even if you're not into growing, if you're just interested in the subject of cannabis, it's really amazing to see these huge operations, how they work. I mean, you take it from, the growing to packaging, curing, everything, really, harvesting.
Yeah, that's exactly right on both those points. So the story arc of a full Canna Cribs episode follows the life cycle of the plant. Mm-hmm. So we start with genetics, we go into propagation, all the way through to the end sale at a dispensary if they have one or if they have a partner that we could go film. Each episode, so season 1 is 8 episodes. We mm-hmm. just finished filming the 8th episode at The Farm with a PH, and their front-facing consumer brand is Sunday Goods. Mm-hmm. Their director of cultivation is Shord Brooks, a world-renowned cannabis grower. So that wraps up season 1, and each episode was filmed at a different time in a different location.
So how do you pick your locations? How do you pick your sites and businesses?
That is the million-dollar question, my friend. So that just goes down to a lot of times it's just a kind of an instinct.
I see.
It's tough to quantify. There's definitely buckets that have to be filled in order to have a full episode. For example, they have to be a well-known brand. They have to be technologically savvy and cutting edge. I have this relationship that I've built with our fans, and they expect consistency. And we built this model, and there's an integrity there. We can't just go film every cannabis grower in the world. We have to pick and choose what we think is going to be the most entertaining mm-hmm. and informative for our fans around the world.
Well, people will be amazed at the technical expertise of these people. I mean, we're talking like masters and PhDs and horticulture and so forth. The people, you don't realize how intricate and what an art it is, really. What an art it is to grow at that kind of scale. And talk a little bit about your host.
Our host, Nate Lipton. He is the owner and CEO of GrowersHouse.com. He started with his father, Paul Lipton. And they are the strategic partner for Growers Network when anyone in the community needs equipment. We love working with them. They have a team full of experts, and they're kind of like the number one go-to source for equipment online in the United States. And I know they're growing around the world as well. So Nate started out as the host. I looked inside of our community and tried to find someone that represented our brand the best and could speak intelligently and thoughtfully and really evoke that conversation that you see in a full episode that keeps people wanting to watch and they're constantly learning and engaged.
Yeah, he's very good and he's smart as shit. I mean, he really knows his stuff when it comes to all the technicalities, the agri-science stuff.
He really does know his stuff. Every day he's helping commercial growers all around the world build out their grow operations. And he has a pretty awesome team at Growers House as well that he's built up. So they've been in the industry for 9 years. And in the cannabis industry, that's a very long time. So they've seen the trends. They started, their very first warehouse in Tucson, Arizona, and they were teaching grow courses in general, right? You could grow tomatoes.
Right.
And they became a thought leader. Right. And Canna Cribs is just yet another extension of that brand and that message of educating and empowering growers.
Gotcha. What about Deep Roots? Talk about Deep Roots.
Deep Roots is the newest series in the Canna Cribs family. I'm very tuned into the feedback we get from our fans in the YouTube comments. We have thousands of comments, and I might not be able to respond every day, but I do go through them once a week, and it's a really great opportunity to learn what people like and don't like about our series. And one of the things that I kept seeing over and over again, a pattern, was they wanted to see more culture. They wanted to see more voice of the cannabis industry. So our full episodes of Canna Cribs, they do a phenomenal job at breaking down this mysterious black box of commercial cannabis cultivation. And we go in depth, and it's very scientific and, technical jargon heavy. So I wanted to switch up the speed, and I wanted to create a series that highlighted the amazing people that, they're growing cannabis for a living, but there's something beneath the surface that got them to join the industry. Right. And I wanted to tell that side. So Canna Cribs Deep Roots gives us an opportunity to tell more of the culture. We go into the food, the music, and the lifestyle behind being a professional in the cannabis industry. We filmed our pilot in Denver at Green Man Cannabis, and we have the next 3 episodes booked out in the upcoming months.
I watched it last night, and it was really the guy that you were featuring, the owner, I suppose, or one of the owners. His son had leukemia. It was much more. It got much more into the personal side of the people running these businesses. So I really liked it a lot. I really recommend that our listeners check it out. You can go to YouTube. You can search Growers Network. You can search Canna Cribs and Deep Roots and find it. And I know you'll enjoy it. A lot of our listeners are not commercial growers. So, they're maybe interested in a home growing situation in legal states now where you can have 6 plants or 10 plants or whatever. What's your advice to the newbie grower? Because it's a completely different world from what we see on Canna Cribs with these multi-million-dollar operations. What would be your recommendation if someone says, what do I do? How do I start?
Well, I can tell you, Jay, when I was 16 in high school trying to grow weed at home, I wish I had Growers Network.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Some serious ditchweed coming out of my backyard, let me tell you.
With our team, we've built Growers Network to be the ultimate resource for growers around the world, no matter the shape and size of your grow operation, or if you've ever grown in the past. We're going to break it down and we're going to help you get there. So for a hobbyist grower or someone curious of growing cannabis for the first time, I'd recommend just doing your research. Go online. I don't know if you're a Google or a Bing fan, but just hit the search engine. Just start searching for how to grow cannabis. I'm of course biased. I think Growers Network is a phenomenal resource for you. It doesn't cost anything from joining our community to meet other people just like you around the world, to joining Growers Network University and learning the step-by-step process, or watching Canna Cribs for some inspiration and some tips. We offer it all to you at zero cost. And really, whatever your interests are, if you want to grow in a soilless media or you want to try LED lights, we want to further that passion and just really help you join that conversation through all of our different, opportunities, such as the community. Our blog is full of how-to articles, Growers Network University, and Canna Cribs. So
where do you see Growers Network in the next 5 to 10 years? How do you see yourself evolving? What's going to change? It's
a great question. It's what keeps me up at night.
I bet.
Yeah, the cannabis industry. I'm in the United States, so the cannabis industry is vastly changing, as you know.
Absolutely.
In our country, but around the world. So I really see us growing to serve other populations of growers around the world, whether they are in Colombia, Germany, Canada, or in our backyard in the United States. So Growers Network community, Canna Cribs, Growers Network University, that's the first couple years of our resources. So 5-10 years from now, we are going to get bigger, we're going to get better, and we're going to provide more resources for growers to elevate their craft around the world.
Well, I believe that, and I believe in you guys. It's a great site, and I recommend anybody listening to this has to go check it out, even if you're not a grower, because there's just a wealth of interesting information on how to grow, how to harvest, how to process, the whole thing. So, Nick, I really appreciate you being here. I'm going to have links in the show notes, how to get in touch with you, email, as well as your website for those who didn't catch it. It's very simple. It's growersnetwork.org. So, Nick, thanks for your time, and I hope we can catch up again, and I'm going to be spending a lot more time on your website.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me, Jay, and really anyone that's listening to this, please reach out. I am more than happy to talk with you, help you through your grow operation, whether you're a hobbyist or a commercial grower. That's what we eat, sleep, and breathe over here at Growers Network. So thank you for your time, Jay.
Thanks, Nick.
Post post your comments, your questions, your corrections, your historical insights on anything and everything related to the world of cannabis. Just check us out at VoteProPot.com.
Yeah, you can go to our contact page and send us a message or email us at podcast@VoteProPot.com.
And please like and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and now Instagram. Just do a search for Vote Pro Pot.